find us. You won't take back this city. I'm blind.
Hey, what is up everyone? The LDB is back at it again, coming at you today with my Btsu exotic gloves build, and I will show you how easily we can crack 1 million with your cluster seekers, as well as go over the good and the bad that I have found surrounding these gloves. Now, I've been having a lot of fun with this build overall, and I definitely encourage you to try it out for yourself. It's a little bit different, just a change of pace, you know, compared to the typical assault rifle LMG build, just run and gun type of stuff. So as always, I hope you enjoy or find these videos helpful. If you do, feel free to smash that like button, subscribe for future content if you are new to the channel, and go ahead and drop a comment down there below with any constructive input or if you have any questions. So let's get into it. Alright everyone, so first things first, let's check out these weapons here, go over a couple of things because they actually do play a pretty big part in this build. Not necessarily the weapon or the weapon type, anything like that, more so just the talents on the weapons. If you line up a few of these talents, you will definitely be doing pretty good. Now I'm simply using an LMG because it has a higher per bullet base damage over the assault rifles, and on a build that's all into skill power, you need as much damage per bullet as you can get. That's just my opinion, so that's what I'm going with the Black Market M60 here. We got 24.3k per bullet. That is terrible by majority of standards, but again, on a build that has 3000 skill power and we only have 5 reds, that's really not too bad. Now we have 162 in the mag, so that's really nice, but again, the talents are what make it. We have Spike here. Headshot kills grant plus 35% skill damage for 20 seconds. That is absolutely awesome when you're using a Firefly that blinds the NPCs like I'm using. So you go ahead and throw that out there. It blinds them. You can more or less take those headshots pretty easy there, and that's going to grant you that plus 35% skill damage, as well as soon as when you use your Firefly, you're going to infuse your gloves. So when you throw out your Seekers, you can see it gets nasty really quick. Now, also I have extra on here. I think this is kind of important if you're using an LMG or really any weapon at all, is magazine capacity, because we don't have a whole lot of per bullet damage and we're going to need every bullet that we can get. So that plus 20% capacity really does help out. Now, moving on to Rooted. This one is also really a good one right here. Highly recommend it. While equipped and in cover and using, you know, your skills and not having a lot of armor or health anything, you more or less should be sticking to cover overall. But when you're in cover, all skill damage and healing is increased 25% for 10 seconds. So as soon as you get into cover, chuck out that Firefly and then throw them Seekers right behind it, and you're going to be doing some crazy damage. The buff is lost when exiting cover, can occur once per 60 seconds. Now, as far as the mods go on this weapon, I have the optic that is actually going for accuracy because, again, I'm trying to push those headshots. You got to get those headshots, and with an LMG, if you probably know, it's not that easy to do. Easier said than done getting headshots, especially from a distance. Now we have an ammunition belt that plus 35 rounds. The underbarrel gives us that 5% crit chance. I just tried to get that on there, just throw a little bit extra. If you wanted to, you could always go with accuracy stability, like I did with the muzzle, went with that 10% stability. So pretty much that's the primary right there. Now my secondary, overall I really have not been using this at all because we have terrible damage on it. Look at that, 13-1. That RPM is nice and we have a decent mag, but that damage per bullet is really scary. Now as far as the talents go, the only thing I'm really looking for is recharged. While equipped, skills deployed at full armor. When you have full armor, plus 25% duration, charges, and ammo. Now, on a Seeker, we don't have really a duration, we don't have a charge, that's for hives, and we don't have ammo on it. But for some reason, if I do not have this on, I will consistently hit more or less for about 990,000 compared to the 1 million that I can break when I put these on. It's really weird. If you can explain that, let me know down in the comments. So other than that, let's take a look at the sidearm. And as far as a sidearm goes, I'm going to be going with the Demolitionist pistol here, so you don't have to go out and look for it. You simply unlock it when you equip the Demolitionist. Only reason I'm using this is because it has in rhythm. While equipped, enemy kills have a 5% chance to refresh. Active skill cooldowns can occur once every 60 seconds. That's really nice when you throw out your Seekers, you take somebody down, and you get them back instantly. Boom. That is great, but it can only happen once a minute. And it has a pretty low chance of happening. It says on here, but to me, it happens a lot more often than you think. So that is the weapons. Let's get on to the build itself. Alright everyone, and here it is. As you can see up top here, I'm going to be going with the Demolitionist specialization, mainly because we get that extra explosive damage from it, but also because, well, we get a grenade launcher on an explosive build, right? So pretty straightforward on that, especially when you take a look at the damage we can do with it. We're talking 1.6 million per shot. That is freaking awesome, especially when it comes to the tanks or those sledgehammer guys. Anybody that you really just don't want to deal with at that given moment, pull this thing out, put a couple shots on them, and just go on with your day. It's that simple. I've been having a blast literally using this thing. It is super fun and extremely effective. So definitely remember you got this for backup. I've been using it in case I get into a pinch. You know, if a tank gets too close or something like that, pull this thing out, boom, boom, and just keep on going. So definitely try this out. It is super fun. Now, other than that, let's take a look at the attributes on the build. We have 5 reds, 3 blue, and 10 yellow. So obviously, we're going all skill power. But at the same time, our armor is still over 200,000. And I did that on purpose. I really had to work hard for that because I've been seeing a lot of people using, you know, this build that has, you know, 170, 180,000 armor. And to me, that is just way too squishy. I can't do it. I really can't, because with the BTSU gloves, you have to remember, you need a skill that is going to be doing the damage and a skill that is going to be infusing your glove. So basically, you have to give up your chem launcher or your healing drone, anything like that, for damage skills or skills that give you a status effect, more or less. So that is one of the downsides, I think, to the BTSU gloves. But overall, if you get everything lined up and everything procced, it works out really, really nice. Now, our armor, 208,000. Our health, 27,000. Again, focus on keeping that armor up. Use your armor kits. Use them. Use your armor kits. I don't say that lightly because typically I don't even use armor kits, and with a build like this, you have to. It is what it is. And our skill power down here, we are at 3,082, just over 3,000. Try to keep it right at about 3,000 because anything over 3,000 is going to be giving you very small returns coming back. I'm pretty sure everybody knows about the cap of the skill power, roughly around 3,000. So just keep it right at about that, and you should be doing just fine. Now, as far as the skills go, let's take a look here. The Seekers that I'm going to be going with, the cluster mines, the base damage on them is 531,000. We have a 16-second cooldown. It could be a lot better, but again, I went all skill power instead of the skill haste, more or less, and you know, 16 seconds, every 16 seconds, that's not that long to wait. That flies by in no time. As far as the mods that I'm going to be using on here, we have a mod that gives me 108% skill haste. I wish I had a better one of those, but it is what it is. But as far as the other mods, I have 87.7% damage and 90.2% damage. If I could get a couple that were 95 plus or whatever, that would be a lot better. And I know some people have some awesome mods for these, so you could probably push yours a little bit further. But this is what I'm sitting at, this is what I'm using, and it's been working out awesome. Now, as far as the Firefly that I'm going to also be using, it is the blinder because it applies blind status effect on affected targets. And when we get to the BTSU gloves, you'll see what I'm talking about, why we need this. The cooldown is, again, only 17 seconds. You can hit 3 targets with it, and I mean, it takes a second to do so. The blind duration is 9 seconds, so you do have a little bit of time to pick those headshots, like I was saying before, using Spike on your primary once they are blind, and then throw those Seekers out after. it gets nasty. It absolutely gets nasty. But those are the skills in a whole. Really quick, I just wanted to show you the grenades before we go off to the actual gear pieces. This is awesome. Absolutely awesome. 658,000, almost 659,000 for just a regular concussion grenade. Now, even if we take a look at the demolitionist frag grenade here, it's 186,000. So just regular grenades, use these over your specialist grenades, and you're going to be doing literally like 3-4 times the damage, right? So definitely keep that in the back of your head. Other than that, let's go on to the gear pieces itself now. Alright everyone, so let's do this. Now really quick before we get into the specifics of everything here, I would just want to point out a couple quick little tips here that I think can take you a long way when it comes to skill builds in general, from what I've learned in the last few days, and especially when it comes to these explosive builds. And that would be to run 1-piece Providence, giving you plus 10% skill power, use a 2-piece Alp Summit, giving you plus 20% skill haste and 5% skill power. And then if you're going to be using an explosive build, go with 1-piece China Light because that gives you 10% explosive damage. So right there, you can see where I'm going with it, and it synergizes very nice. Now, if you're going to be going with the BTSU gloves, obviously we're going to be left with 1 slot open. Really, you can use whatever brand set that you want. I just simply went with Wyvern because, well, it gives me that extra crit damage, and it had a really nice skill power roll on it. So it is what it is. Use whatever kind of brand set you want for the random slot, I guess you could say, but more or less focus on having 1 piece of Providence, 2-piece Alp Summit, and 1-piece China Light. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Alright everyone, so the mask that I'm going to be going with, again, it is Providence, giving me that 10% skill power. We have some health on a kill, and just a little bit of a skill power roll down there, plus 269, nothing too crazy, but hey, everything fits together just fine. And we also have Destructive on there, plus 20% explosive damage. This is definitely a staple for this build. Put this anywhere and everywhere that you can. It will definitely benefit you a lot. Now, moving on to the chest piece, it is Alp Summit. We have the 2-piece going, so again, we're going to get that 20% skill haste and 5% skill power. And also the attributes on here, we get 544 skill power. I know it's not that god roll chest piece that was going around in some of the clan vendors last week with, 1,000 skill power, but hey, it fits. It's been working out just fine. I don't have any complaints. Now, as far as that 20.5% headshot damage, you might be wondering, well, why the hell did you leave that on there? Simply because on my primary, like I said, we do have Spike on here. Headshot kills grant 35% skill damage for 20 seconds. So the easier I can get those headshot kills, hey, I'm good with it. I'm definitely good with it. And we also have Destructive on there, another 20% explosive damage. As far as the mods go, we have a Offensive, giving me some weapon damage, LMG damage. The Utility mod, giving me some skill power, increased kill XP, and explosive damage. Anywhere you can get explosive damage with increased kill XP, do it. I promise you will not, it will not let you down. Because whenever you get those multi-kills or anything like that, you get a lot of XP. So any way that you can boost your increased kill XP is an awesome thing with this build. Definitely push that wherever that you can. Moving on to the defensive mod, nothing too crazy. We got some armor, explosive resistance, because hey, you can never be too careful, and also 3.5% total armor, and that actually is what put me over 200,000 armor right there. Gotta love it. Now moving on to the holster here. It is Wyvern. Again, this could be really whatever you want. The way I have it set up right here, the template that I have, I could go with the Raldi, anything you want. I just simply went with this because it has a really nice skill power roll on it of 720, and we get a little bit of crit damage from it, as well as Destructive on there as well. Another 20% explosive damage. Gotta love that. Now, as far as the mod that I have on here, it is an offensive mod, giving me some weapon damage and some more LMG damage. So you can see, stacking that LMG damage, it's still going to be putting some damage down range. Not like we normally would be, but hey, it is what it is. Now, other than that, moving on to the knee pads, they are China Light, giving me that 10% explosive damage. We have 321 skill power on it, and also Destructive as well. Another 20% explosive damage. So right there, on this piece alone, we're getting 30% explosive damage. You gotta love that. Now, as far as the mods go on here, we just simply have an offensive mod that gives me some weapon damage and another 5% LMG damage. That's a pretty good mod right there. Gotta love that. Now, I'm going to actually skip over BTSU because I want to talk about those when we get to those. Now, the backpack here, it is Alp Summit. We have some skill power, 342, and 21% skill haste, not too bad. And we also have tech support and Destructive as well. Destructive, again, 20% explosive damage, but tech support is definitely where it's at. Kills by active skills grant 25% skill damage for 10 seconds. So when you throw your Seekers out there, typically it's going to kill somebody before the other one, right? And when you kill one of them first, you take out one NPC, the rest of your Seekers are going to have that extra 25% on there, which is why in gameplay, if you saw, you know, I might start out at maybe 700,000, something like that, but then the next 2 hits will be over 1 million. That is exactly why right there, tech support coming into play. And again, we have destructive on there, you know, pretty straightforward. As far as the mods go, we have a utility mod just giving me a nice chunk of skill power and 2% explosive damage. And we also have an offensive mod with weapon damage and some more LMG damage as well. So that is the build in itself. Let's talk about these BTSU gloves. Alright everyone, so let's take a look at these gloves really quick. Now I think they have a couple of pros and cons to them. The pros I guess would be that they have more armor than other gloves, as well as they give your skills a really nice buff after you jump through a couple of hoops. So that's definitely a good thing. It makes your skills super strong with it. The downside is that you have to give up one of your healing skills. These gloves have to be infused with the status effect to get the extra damage, right? Basically meaning that you're going to have to use a skill that applies a status effect, infuses your gloves, you get the extra damage, and then you throw your Seekers out there and you get the extra damage from it. I hope you're following me on this, and we'll go over in depth what the BTSU are all about. But to me, that is kind of screwed up because we're all skill power. We have no armor, damn near. I mean, I had to really work to get 200,000 armor and only 27,000 health. So you really have to be on point with those armor kits, use them wisely, and I mean, that's really all I can say. But at the same time, if you are playing smart, using cover, using your skills wisely, more or less, you shouldn't really need all that much healing because your skills are so powerful. So let's take a look at what we're actually going to get from these gloves. We have Elemental Gadgetry. Skills that apply status effect gain 50% status effect duration and 50% skill haste. Now the Seekers do not have a status effect or anything like that, so that's not going to be applied towards those. But it will be applied towards the Firefly down there. So that's a good thing right there. You got 50% status effect duration and 50% skill haste. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Energy infusion. Whenever you apply a status effect, your gloves become infused with that effect for 60 seconds. While infused, you gain 10% skill damage, 10% skill healing and repair, and 10% skill duration for each yellow Lego that you have. I have 10 of them. So if I get infused, I'm going to be doing 100% more skill damage. I mean, right there, that is insane. And I know some people that have like 16, 17, 18 yellows on there. That is crazy. Your skills have to be through the roof, absolutely nuts. Now, applying the same status effect while infused does not refresh the infusion. So you have to wait for it to go down and then re-infuse them. The only thing is, it lasts for 60 seconds anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You're good for a minute after you get infused one time, and the cooldown for my Firefly right here is only 17 seconds. So I'm getting them back way before I need to infuse again, but at the same time, I mean, it's been working out really nice. Now, at the same time, down here, it gets even more interesting. Charged proxies. Whenever you throw a skill, 1.25 seconds after landing, it creates an explosion, applying the infused status effect to all enemies within 6 meters. This is huge because if you blind them, get a headshot real quick, and then throw them Seekers right there in the middle of everybody, the first explosion usually takes out the majority of them, and then the Seekers will go out and just take out everybody else. It's awesome. It works so well. It is super strong. That's all I can say right there. Now it says down here, enemies affected by the infused status effect take 50% more damage from your skills. Huge. So we're going to be getting an extra 100% skill damage, as is on my build right now, since I have 10 yellow Legos. And after I throw them, anybody that is affected by that infused status effect is 50% more damage. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So you do have to kind of work with these gloves a little bit. It's definitely a change of pace. You have to have that infusion before you can do anything else. But again, that infusion does last for a little while, and it's very easy to get it again. Just simply throw out that Firefly. I know a lot of people are using flame turrets, things like that, but to me, you know, if you want to use it for strictly a a turret build, I think that would be a great idea. Overall, I'm really sticking to the Firefly. I think it works a lot better. You know, when you throw out that flame turret, it lasts for a long time. Typically, you have to pop it before it's even down, especially with all the skill power. And I mean, it is what it is, personal preference, but that's what I'm going with. So now let's take a look at the mods really quick, and then we will be off to the character sheet. We have a utility mod that gives us some skill power, another 4% increased kill XP, gotta love that, 1.5 explosive damage. We have another utility mod there giving us some skill power, explosive damage, and grenade damage, so just tack a little bit more on them grenades. And also have a defensive mod with some armor, health regen, that's a big one right there, and 2% total armor. So overall, that is the build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now let's go over to the character sheet and see how this all breaks down. Alright everyone, so before we go ahead and sign off, let's just do a quick little recap here. We have 5 reds, 3 blue, and 10 yellows. Our armor's at 208,000, we have the health at 27,000, and our skill power just over 3,000 at 3,082. Now we have tech support up there, we have destructive a whole bunch of times, elemental gadgetry, energy infusion, charge proxies coming from BTSU gloves, destructive a couple more times. So let's see, we have destructive that's 20, 40... 60, 80, 100% explosive damage just with destructive, and then another 10% by using that one piece of China Light. So right there, 110% explosive damage before we get any of the talents or skills or anything like that to proc. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy, and it's been working out awesome. If you can push it any farther, hey, I'm with you. Now, as far as the weapon talents go, we have Spike on there, Rooted, Recharged, In Rhythm. Those are some that I really recommend. I mean, at least try them out. As far as the weapons go, we have the weapon damage, base damage of 24-3, nothing crazy at all. We have 5% crit chance. That's terrible, but again, it's a skill build. We have 32 crit damage, 86% headshot damage though. See, that's where I was going with the that extra 20% on the chest piece. That will definitely help me get those headshot kills, proccing Spike on my primary, and get that extra skill damage. Now, we also have 40 meters range right there. I mean, that's pretty good. 40 meter range, you can reach out and hit someone at a distance. Gotta love that. Now, as far as the reload time, that sucks. 5.8 seconds. It's terrible. I hate it. We also have some accuracy stability. We only have a little bit of all weapon damage bonus. We have 30% LMG damage bonus, so 34 total. Not too bad. We don't have any damage to elites or anything like that. Again, we're going everything towards explosions. Now, as far as the armor goes, we are going to be having 208,000 armor. We don't have any armor on a kill. Our armor regeneration is pretty bad. I mean, oh boy. Our max health there is 27,000. We have some health regeneration, 14k, and we only have some burn resistance as far as a hazard protection goes. That could be better. That could definitely be better. That's something that I might strive for in the future, is to push a little bit of hazard protection, since you know, those little cars or you know, their drones, anything like that, really screw you up when you only have 27,000 health and 200,000 armor. So a little bit of hazard protection might not hurt at all. Now, as far as the skills go, as you can see, we have 3,082 skill power. We have 41% skill haste, not too bad, and our all of our skills are at 3082 all the way down there, and I mean, overall it's been working out really nice. So that is the build itself. That is all the nitty-gritty. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next one. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the BTSU explosive build. I've been having a whole lot of fun with this build. It's definitely a change of pace compared to the LMG run and gun type of scenario, but regardless, as you can see, these Seekers are OP. You don't necessarily always need that 1 million, but having that kind of power is always a nice thing. So as always, I hope you enjoyed or found this video helpful. If you did, feel free to smash that like button, subscribe for future content if you are new to the channel, and go ahead and drop a comment down there below if you have any questions. So until next time, guys, I hope you take it easy. I will see you then. Later.